I figured I'd try something new for Monday on YouTube since my Assassin's Creed videos are done at this point. Figured I'd just toss together some short, well, relatively short videos on Fallout and toss them out there. YouTube likes consistency, so if you put out one thing for a week, every week, and then you stop doing it, they don't really like that. So we'll just get into this. Top 10 locations I find useless in Fallout 4. Alright. When I say useless, I mean locations that kind of make no sense on why they exist. Places that feel like random set dressing, just put there to just exist, right? A hazard to whoever fucking built them, right? Because that's useless. And that's about it. All right. So that's just going to be this one here. Figured I'd go over what I consider useless. Because what I consider useless, someone else might words. What I consider useless, someone else might not consider useless. So I figured I'd just explain that. Okay. So with that, we're going to go into number 10 here. Now, number 10 is right outside of Sanctuary Hills. It's on this little outcropping of islands down here on the river. It's this armored personnel character. It tries to paint the story of the military was dumping waste here because there's a dead military soldier and there's a bunch of waste and stuff. The thing is, like, if this was parked or backed up to the river on the one side, that would make sense. But this is on a small island surrounded by water, right? And as someone who has gotten trucks stuck by the river and had to help people get trucks unstuck down by the river, this vehicle would have never made it here to begin with. Full stop. You're not getting that right there. Not even in the rocky soil of the Northeast. You're not getting that APC there. So we'll move on to 9 now. Again, these aren't in any substantial order or significant order or anything like that. We're up at the top of the map where you start the Far Harbor DLC, I do believe. Full transparency, never played any of the DLCs for Fallout 4. Will be doing so here soon, hopefully. As we come up here, down past the beach ships, you can see a little setup to where people were using this as a private beach, right? And that makes sense. It's got a good view of the ocean. Yeah, not the best view, but a good view of the ocean, right? Got your chairs, you got your tables, you got your umbrellas, you got your lifeguard post. I believe there's also a life preserver sitting there by a whaling boat. Fine. This isn't what I'm talking about, though. What I'm talking about is down the beach here a little bit. So we head on down. I'm just going to jump into the water here and cross because it's easy. Also, my game is set on God mode at this point because I just felt like running around the wasteland. Anyone that's ever played Fallout for a long enough time knows what I'm getting at with that. So we head on back down, past the little shack, past a small dock, past these other beach ships, past the equipment and this other small, I don't even know what the fuck this little dock would be called. Keep on heading down, past this fence, and now we're fairly close to where we need to be. This little walkway is all post-war, don't need to worry about that. As we come down here to this lone set of chairs and umbrella. This umbrella, these chairs make no sense in my book, for the reason of no one in the right fucking mind pre-war would want to just sit and look at a goddamn factory while sunbathing, right? Just head on down the fucking way all of, like, I mean, real time. It's like 2 minutes, not even a minute. Just head down the ways a little bit, and you got a nice view of the ocean. Hell, you head on a little further down, and you'll have a beautiful view of nothing but the ocean, right? So this doesn't make sense pre-war, and it doesn't make sense post-war, because who the fuck's going to be out here lounging half in the fucking sand like this with radioactive ghouls and shit running around, because there is a glowing one that's usually out on one of them pieces of wood floating around. All the ships and shit makes no sense. Alright, so anyway, gonna move to 8. 8's down at the other end of the map, almost directly in line with where we just were. Some of the area that's been flooded over time here in the Commonwealth. A little shack sits on stilts. Anyone that lives near the water or any place that floods, it knows that this is how people build houses. The thing is, this place makes no sense here because there's not really any reason for it to be here. It's not a good house. The fucking doorway's open with a goddamn mattress laying in front of it. It's not good shelter. You got a walkway leading over to what I thought was a fucking outhouse. But it's not an outhouse. It's another place to sleep in a tent for some reason. Built off of an old lamppost, which is pretty cool. There's another one there. I do like that little aesthetic touch. It's pretty neat. So originally I figured, hey, well maybe it's, maybe it has to do with fishing or something. And there's a boat sitting out there, so I figured, okay, well maybe it's for fishing. I started looking around though, and it's not. There's a boat with a bucket, no way to move the boat. The boat's not even set up to the little handmade docks sitting out here. Let me see here in a second. It's not set up to the little handmade docks. It's not too far from a walkway. But you got a dock here that was made. No fishing poles by it, mind you. And then you just got it pulled up to a little walkway here. There's a busted up crab pot and an old buoy. But that's... It doesn't make this area make any more sense to me at all. Like, stick a couple of boats out there or put some netting and stuff up in there. Anyway, number 7. Number 7's a weird one, right? You look on the Pip-Boy map, you see that there's a pond marked out of bounds. It's like in line with the Forgotten Church as you head up. And the reason this one's useless to me is, one, why would you put a marked, like, pond outside of the bounds of the map? And 2, how come there isn't actually a pond here? Right? You know people are going to go there to try to check it out just because they can. And with the console commands and shit, you could literally clip out of bounds with no problem. But there's no pond here. Right there, right where I'm looking is where this pond is supposed to be. So why put a pond on this map? Right here. That everyone's going to see. But not have a pond here. That's useless in like 2 or 3 different ways. When you shoot this right here, this is the bad idea that I had there not too long ago, the gun. Shoot water with that shit, it splashes all over the place. It shows that there's no water there, right? Anyway, moving on to number 6. This one's a little unique, because this is one of 2 places in this area I'm going to be showing you. One of them, sadly, more useless than the other. We're not too far from Diamond City. Right down in there across the way is where some of the guards like to sleep. You can make your way up here without too much of a problem. I just used a console command to get up here. You could jump up here with a power armor jetpack, or if you're agile enough. Makes it seem like, with the way the game's freaking the fuck out, that you're not supposed to be up here at all, but there's loot to be had. Easy enough to get up here. Right? Game does not like you being up here. Feel like they never really thought out the whole jetpack on your power armor thing. Well, jump pack on your power armor. But this right here is what I'm talking about. Not the sheet metal here. Not the stands there, which that is supposed to be the stands, the fens, or whatever the fuck you want to call it for Diamond City. I'm talking about this walkway that we're on. These stairs that are supposed to be leading down and around throughout everything. As like the walkways to move people between levels of the stadium. They lead to nothing. And there's a bunch of them on the outside here. But they lead to nothing. They're just set dressing. They don't make any sense on why they're there beyond, hey, look, that looks cool. They could have slapped a fucking doorway here and then boarded it up and been done with it. But no, they didn't even do that. Anyway, number 5. Still technically on Diamond City. Now, this is a place a lot of people know about. Some people think it's a little Easter egg. Some people think it's a neat little area. Some people think it's cut content. I think it's completely useless. Right? Showing where it is marked on the map here so some people can figure out what I'm talking about. Come on down here, show exactly where it is, because this is the main gatehouse for Diamond City, right here in front of us. This is where the big-ass door opens up. Loot to be had here. Right? You can see right where you come in most of the time. Again, everything's filled up with, like, brick debris, which would mean a bunch of this is falling in on itself, but it doesn't look like that. Neither here nor there at this point. What I'm talking about is right here. Right here. Head on out. Take a look around. That's supposed to be Diamond City in there. Again, doesn't really like you being up this high for really any reason. But hop back on in here and let's take a look around. Power armor place to work on your power armor. Well, power armor lift. Bunch of different shit to collect. Nice open area here. Some people say it's a cut settlement. I say it's completely fucking useless because why put something like this so far out of the way for the player that they're never going to find it? Moving on to number 4. And I've talked about this one before. And I've talked about the entirety of Diamond City and how I don't fucking like it. This shack right here makes no fucking sense. This is on your way up to Kellogg's house. It makes no sense because it's nothing but set dressing. Just like the rest of Diamond City pretty much is, right? The best way for people to have built a city inside of Diamond City is what the people of ancient Rome did with the Colosseum. You live in the parts that are already fucking covered, and you build shacks and shit in it. You don't use the big-ass open area where you could grow food to build shacks on and then fill the rest of it with your fucking garbage and refuse, right? Like, Megaton had a reason to be built the way it was. Diamond City tried to capture that for no goddamn reason, right? And it just irks me, especially this building right here. Pretty much encapsulates everything that's wrong with Diamond City, in my opinion. All show and no go. I don't like it. Moving on to number 3. This lift. Just this lift. Right here. That's it. Right? This highway would not have had this lift. Right? These lifts are used for cleaning windows, going up and down. Don't get me wrong, someone in the comments is probably going to correct me. But most highways and shit that are lifted either have ladders, and that's what they're called, on the outsides of the supports so that they can be climbed up, or some of the supports, if they're large enough, have stairwells in them. You would not have a lift like this that's hung from 2 separate points, which these are steel cables, flying in the fucking breeze back and forth as you try to go up. Which means this was put here post-war. Which I can get it, you know, raiders do weird shit and there's usually a bunch of raiders up there, but this would be super fucking dangerous, right? Hell, even when they're used on the sides of buildings, you could look that shit up. Yeah, some of that shit gets fucking intimidating and scary, man. There's been people that died over that shit. So this is just super dangerous to whoever the fuck put it there. Moving on to number 2. Right here, kind of central map. A little off to the, not too far from the Corvega. Whatever the fuck. This shipping container, this car, and the skeletons on it are what make no fucking sense. Right? The shipping container and the car which is touching the yellow line, which means one lane of traffic is completely blocked off. The The stairs are built off of the car onto the shipping container with a supply box on top, and for some reason a random bathtub in the shipping container. But the skeletons on top are pre-war, which means this happened pre-war, or the point in time when no one really ever talks about. There was like a year-long period in the Fallout universe where the bombs fell, big cities and government collapsed, but the small local governments tried to piece shit back together, clean up radiation, clean up radioactive materials. That's why you'll see so many vehicles and stuff dumping radioactive shit places. But this doesn't fit any of that. This is just a couple that was up here holding hands before I walked over them, with a random car and a random shipping container. Sure, we're close to a bandit stronghold, but if these guys were killed by the bandits, 1, they wouldn't be holding hands, and 2, they'd be down on the road. And 3, they'd be like more modern corpses, right? Not pre-war skeletons. So this area makes no sense to me at all. So we're going to move on to number 1. Number 1, you can find it directly on the map where it is here now. You can also find this same style of house throughout the entire game. Some versions of the house I don't hate, right? This version of the house I fucking hate. I hate it. It's useless. This you'll see here in a second. You go walking in, it's like a big studio, fine, whatever. Studio houses exist, studio apartments exist. And there are some versions of the house that have a stairway that wraps up and around, and there's a second floor to it. But you have a big-ass kitchen and dining area, a sunroom, or a sun porch, as your bedroom, which means you're never not going to be woken up by the fucking sun. You got your, I guess, living room on, like, one half of this big-ass open gantry way, or whatever the fuck. Then you got your bathroom out in the open, so that every time you take a shower or take a shit, you're going to smell up your entire house there, or everything's just going to be damp, right? It makes no sense. Could have knocked this out right here, put the bathroom right here, would have been fine. Done like a studio deal, like over in here, you could have had a studio, not studio, a bedroom, bed pointing out that way. Right from in the center of there. Would have looked great. Would have been fine. Could have had your kitchenette over here where the bathroom is for some stupid fucker reason. And then the living room over on the other side. It could have worked, but Jesus fucking Christ, I hate that house. It just goes to show you they were tossing shit at the wall to hurry up and get shit out. And it made no goddamn sense. And yeah, they're small things, but feel like they're symptoms of a much larger problem. Anyway, thanks for watching.